One of the newest all-Asian casted movies, Everything Everywhere All at Once, demonstrates the Asian immigrant experience under the light of generational differences and identity crisis. In my opinion, Huy Quan and Daniel Scheibert directed this movie incredibly well, not just because of the fabulous coloring and storyline, but because it depicts an incredibly tough and ignored story of the immigrant experience in an easy-to-understand Marvel way. From the beginning of the movie, Evelyn, the mother, is clearly upset with her work, her life, and her daughter. Everything Evelyn wishes her daughter would be, such as normal and successful, is not true. Joy, her daughter, is lesbian and low-key a rebel. In the first scenes, we can see the divide between Joy and Evelyn. The biggest problem is that Evelyn is so steadfast in her ways that she cannot have an open mind to Joy or her situation. The divorce notice we see seems to be from Evelyn because her pessimistic attitude seems to allude to her dissatisfaction with her husband, Waymond. Later on, we notice that the divorce notice was actually from Waymond himself. It is evident through the way Evelyn treats the people around her that she is stubborn and her thoughts are all linear. She has one goal, and her life is centralized around it. Evelyn has an incredible power to ignore everybody around her. When confronted with a very supernatural event that clearly is not fake, she always tries to avoid trouble. In one instance, she demands that other dimension Waymond leave her and her world alone. She is only occupied with her problems, which alludes to how she could normally treat her daughter, which is ignorant of her daughter's problems. The supernatural aspect of the multiple dimensions and black hole that resembles a bagel is all a symbol of a theme of family. I won't get into the nitty-gritty details about how the abilities work or time jumping, but rather I will explain the meaning behind them. Straight from the start, we see that in multiple dimensions, Evelyn can take on different roles and abilities depending on her decisions. In this way, the dimensions symbolize the many paths that she could have taken but never did. Just like the idea of you can't change what has already happened, Evelyn is always stuck on the idea that if she did something better before, she could have a better life. Other dimension Waymond tells her she is in a dimension where she failed the most and she must deal with it. This is one of the moments where Evelyn must not think about the past. Evelyn always wishes her daughter was docile and not weird like when she was a child, running around the laundromat. It seems that Evelyn does not wish for her daughter to grow up and become a rebel. Another important fictional aspect, which is very funny, is that you have to do something very weird in order to gain an ability, or in other words, to grow as a person. Evelyn is very traditional in doing things her own way. As she sees in her past, if she did not take the risk and gone to America with Waymond, she would become much more successful. She believes that if she does not take risks or go out of her comfort zone or static mindset, she would be happier. We can see that this clashes with her daughter, who is going through puberty, changing and developing her own identity. Now I'm presenting you one of the biggest themes of Everything Everywhere All at Once, and that is Evelyn's love for her daughter. Her daughter, Joy, is broken apart. In the movie, the antagonist, Jobu Tupaki, symbolizes the internal battle of Joy. Joy, who is a Chinese American, is growing up in a very radically different environment than her home and her traditional culture. She feels fractured in her identity and feels almost nothing works or nothing is worth pursuing. Just like how Jobu lacks emotion because she has experienced everything and is fractured between all the worlds. But Evelyn's love for Joy pushes Evelyn to take more radical measures to understanding Joy and fight back the Jobu of her daughter. She becomes more and more fractured in order to save her daughter. At the very end, it seems that Evelyn does become just as fractured, and like Jobu, she does not care about anything. She stabs Waymond, trashes her laundromat, and like her daughter, loses emotion. Evelyn goes through much hell to try to save her daughter, but does her daughter really need saving? The second to last theme I would like to talk about is traditionalism and Evelyn's father. Evelyn's father, like everybody else, is trying to stop Jobu, or Joy's growing identity. Everyone fears that she will be uncontrollable. Evelyn's father, Gong Gong, even begins attacking Evelyn because Evelyn may turn into Joy. Gong desires that none of his children or grandchildren end up being weird. Unfortunately, he, like Evelyn, must realize that change is inevitable and no parent can always have total control over their children. Gong symbolizes the generational trauma that is passed down. Evelyn left with Raymond despite her father's warnings. So Evelyn is so conservative with her daughter because she doesn't want the journey to America to amount to nothing. So she must build the ideal daughter to achieve more success in a failure of a life that she always mentions. Now back to that main concept that I did not talk about, but I will be talking about right now, so stay tuned. The final idea that I'm going to talk about is Evelyn's ignorance. Yes, mother's love helped so much to bring Joy back, but later on we realized that from Joy's perspective, she never really needed that much help from her mom in the first place. Her mom was always too loving. Evelyn, as always, is always thinking about herself. She believes that she can bridge the gap and bring her idea of Joy back. But what she doesn't realize is that Joy is her own person, someone who she can't control. In one of the final scenes, Evelyn seems to think she has it figured out and proudly announces that Joy has a girlfriend. But Joy stomps out for good reason. Evelyn, like us in the audience, believes she fixed everything by helping out. Evelyn then realizes that what she needs to do is step back. She needs to step back because a family bond does not mean one person understands everything of another. Rather, it means an understanding that there is a difference. We can see that at the end, Evelyn realizes this and forms a new bond with her daughter. Now, if you enjoyed this quick movie review about some certain themes, I think you would enjoy the rest of my videos on my channel. I do a lot of Asian concepts and Asian deconstruction where I talk about controversial ideas, and make sure you subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this video. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video.